Hello, everybody. Victor here, and tonight we'll take a few steps further into all this network programmability, SDN, and software-defined kind of stuff. So first, let's take a brief look at the Cisco's APIC-EM, or the Application Policy Infrastructure Controller, the Enterprise module. And this is basically an SDN controller, or at least that's the part that we're gonna look at tonight. So let me go ahead and log into it real quick. Alright, so this is a virtual machine that I have hosted here in my workstation, and this it is pretty is very demanding as far as the resources. As you can see here, the requirements are, for instance, 2.4 gigahertz, and to minimum 6 virtual CPUs, 64 gigs of memory, 500 gigs of disk capacity, and this is how I have it set up for me. 64 gigs of memory, which is pretty much all that I have. 8 virtual processors and 505 hard drive. So this is pretty much the dashboard, and as you can see here, we have a system health tab. Basically tells you the different services that you have running, and um, I guess the health of the system. So let's go into settings and see what we have. Um, and I haven't actually played with all these different options that we have here, but this is something that you might want to have set up. Your CLI credentials. You can basically have like groups, for instance the SNMP version 2 credentials, and it looks like this is still working, so are in the process of starting. So we're gonna have to give it a few more minutes. But let me see if I can show you this. Alright, so let's just wait. I'm gonna pause the video. Alright, so it looks like it's now fully booted. So if we go over to the device inventory, and I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one. This is an old one, which is the same one that we're gonna add. But so if we go into discovery, and I'm gonna delete this one and start a new discovery, we're gonna call it my discovery, and we're gonna use CDP. So we want to make sure that we're running CDP here, and we are. And also make sure that we have SNMP and the community that we're gonna use. And I already have that set up here. I have it saved as a V2 ride community, or that's the name that I gave it. So, and I also have my CLI credentials here. Okay. So the IP is 254, and let's start the discovery. And this should take a couple minutes or a few. So as you can see, the discovery is now in progress. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the APIs here. So these are the APIs that we're gonna be able to run once we have the box associated to the controller, so or mounted. So, but in the meantime, let's check the inventory, and if we do a maybe a see the things that we're not gonna see any network devices. Um, but in the meantime, let me show you the DevNet website where you would see all the tutorials for the APIC. And we're gonna use one of these tutorials. They include this zip file that has this Python files that are basically labs that you can run, and we're gonna be using some of those just as so I can show you what this APIC-EM does. So let's take a look at our discovery, and says it's success, it's inactive. So if we go over to the device inventory, we can see that the IP now is there, but it's still in progress. So still collecting the status and all the information for this node. So let's give it a few more minutes, and I'm gonna pause the video. All right, so now it says that the partial collection failure, which is alright. Um, Not really sure why it keeps saying that, but as you can see, it recognized the host name, which is CSR, and says that it's reachable. And the last update was 7 minutes ago. So if we now go into where it says topology, we should be able to see that box, and here is CSR. So as you add more and more devices, you can kind of like see the topology here, which is pretty cool. So let's go over to where it says API and look at the inventory APIs. And if we do a network device, we want to pull all the network devices that we have in the controller in a all scope. So you can see this is our router right here. So and this is a JSON format, so you can just grab some of the entries that you want and do whatever you want with them, which is pretty nice. So let me show you our Ubuntu machine, and here um, so this is what I was telling you about the not here devnet. This is the file that you download from one of the labs, and as you can see we have a few Python scripts here. So let's take a look at APIC config, which is where you would specify your. This is only to declare these variables: the IP of the controller, which is I already went ahead and changed it. This is for my username and password, so I'm gonna go ahead and change this right now. And bring this back. Um, Username, password. Oh, okay. All right. So, and this one is where the actual phone goes on. Because you can see this is where we declare the functions for the different REST requests that we're gonna make. So we're gonna have a function for the get APIs, for the posts APIs, and the put, and also for the lead. So basically, we're always gonna pass the IP, the version, which is version 1 for us, the API. Well, that's just a string. This is it's always going to be API. And this is for the ticket. Well, because this function right here is to generate a token, a ticket that you need to kind of like pass to the controller every time you're gonna make a request or every time you're gonna run an API. So as you can see, it always uses this header here that specifies what the ticket is. Um, but this is all nice and clean, all already set up for us here. So if we look at an actual example here, this is, and let's actually look at a simpler one first. Lab 1, lab 2-1 get network device list. Okay. Alright, so as you can see here, so the API that we're gonna call is called network-device. So as you can see, it's the same one that you can see here. and then that's pretty much it, because we're gonna remember that we're gonna call the function called get, um, which again is right here. So this is all taken care in this simple file right here. So if we were to run that right now and do Python 3 lab 2-1, we should be able to see our CSR router there. And there it is. Now if we want to do something like um, network device, or actually I'm sorry, um, oh, I thought I seen it here. Maybe is network device config, and we do for this one. All right, so never mind. Let me go back to the Ubuntu machine and look at another example that we have here, which is okay. All right, so for this one, we're again gonna get the network device for the list to generate a list of devices that we have, and selected API. So we then either gonna do we're gonna show the interfaces of the particular device or the actual iOS config. So let's go ahead and run that. And we want to get the list of interfaces, and for number one, which is our CSR, and as you can see, it's all nice and clean. So then after that, we can just grab the fields that we want and then do whatever we want. We want to compare, or that's when you start building your actual applications for your specific networks. So this is pretty cool. This is just I guess just a little bit of what this is capable. The APIC controller. Um, so I think this is gonna be it for now as far as the APIC. Now the other thing that I wanted to show you tonight is a very awesome Python script. I mean Python library called. If we go over here, this is the GitHub repository. And let's go over to the documentation here. So as you can see, these are all the platforms that they're supporting right now. Arista, Juno OS, iOS XR, Fortinet, Nexus, um, Palo Alto. So if we go over to the supported devices, as you can see, these are the different functions that we can run for each of the different platforms, and it's always going to be the same. That's what's really cool about it. Um, so as an example, let me first shut down the APIC controller because we're not gonna use it anymore and it's taking pretty much all of my resources. And on the unit lab, we're gonna turn on the XRV node. And while that gets done, I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video. Alright, so the XRV node is fully booted, and if we look at the interface, should be able to ping gateway, and we are. And was I gonna check? Well, actually, let me bring up the Ubuntu machine. And if we now go to my Python scripts and Napalm fun, I have an XRV test Pi that I have here, and so I don't think I have this user. So mm, show run pipe section or oops. Okay. All right. So if we now oops um SSH it to it. Was it 252? Yes. Oops. Okay. All right. So this is working. So all right, so this is just as an example. What we're gonna do is we're gonna connect to the XRV box using my PANI 2 and the Cisco credentials. And as you can see here, this is the actual driver, or I guess the library that we're bringing up, and this is for the iOS XRV. So if you were working with, like, say, Juniper, you would go to the documentation and see for I'm sorry. No, that's not what I was looking for. Where are the names for let's go to tutorials, and like for instance for the Arista you would say EOS, and I'm sure there's supported devices somewhere here. It tells you all the different names for the drivers and such. So well, I'm not really sure. I know that for Cisco is either iOS and iOS XR. I haven't really tried with the Juniper. So, but for now, if we go back here, this is the function that we're gonna call. It's device that get gets underscore facts. That's the one that we're gonna use, and that's gonna return a Python dictionary that you can later transform to a JSON format and do whatever you want with it. So I'm just gonna show you what this looks like, and do I gotta say sudo? Okay. So as you can see, this is the host name XRV2 because I took that only that part from the JSON, um, the host name, and as you can see here, and I did this on purpose. I left the interface just as it returns it to you. This is a dictionary. So the other thing that we can do is do something like uncomment this line and coming out this line. That way you can see how clean it looks. What did I say? Oh, as you can see, um, this is a much nicer output. So this is pretty much what the Napalm does. As you can imagine, you can start building your own applications for your specific infrastructure using this. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't really built anything yet, but definitely something that I want to look into. So I think this is gonna be it for now. I do notice that I've been getting more and more subscribers to the channel, and I do appreciate it. Uh, um, I guess I should say thank you for watching my videos, and again, if you have any um, questions or comments or opinions, don't hesitate, leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.